What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called Escape the Mad Empire. We've had the pleasure of playing this game in the past, and I've enjoyed it every single time. Well, it's been about a year since my last video, and the game has had a number of systems overhauled. It's had a bunch of new content added to it. I've been playing it for about 4 hours, as you can see right here, during the course of the day. I've had a great time, and if you enjoy Dungeons & Dragons and you wish that there was a procedural version of Dungeons & Dragons, or maybe even like a procedural version of Baldur's Gate, that's essentially what this game is going for. If you know how to play Dungeons & Dragons, you will understand this game and its rules almost instantly, but it does make some clever changes in there to keep the game flowing and bring it more towards a hack and slash direction. So today we're going to play the game for about 30 minutes, and we're going to see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list, or if it's one of those games you would rather pass on. If after watching this you wanted to get Escape the Mad Empire for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description where you can get the early access. I already know my feelings about this game. My first impressions are that I really like it, and I can't wait for it to be done. On top of that, you can also find links down there to other Nerd Castle associated stuff, just in case you wanted to give it a saucy, sexy, spicy click. But let's go ahead and dive on into the game. We'll crack on into the action and see if we have a good time with it here today. Spoiler alert, we're definitely gonna have a fun time with it today. I like this game very much. So here we are inside of our control room. Yep, that's probably not what you were expecting. It's a game that's Dungeons & Dragons, right? We have priests, we have warriors, we have rogues, we have archers, we have all this kind of stuff. So why are we inside of like a sci-fi holodeck Star Trek looking place right now? Well, it ties on into the storyline. Basically, there's an emperor that controls the entire world, and he's been doing crazy experiments and advancing science down in his basement till he went nuts. I don't really know the storyline entirely after that. I think all of our heroes are summoned from different timelines for being champions against fighting back against the Emperor, because we summon them through these interdimensional, I guess, materializers and stuff like that. That's also how we get our equipment. If you obey the timeline, things more or less go good. If you don't, you get instability, which is fatigue, or it would be like your stress level if you were playing Darkest Dungeon, and then bad things start happening. The more unstable your heroes get, they start blinking in and out of existence and disappearing on you mid-quest and then reappearing on other times. So you definitely want to babysit that. For right now, we'll do a fast dungeon run, and then we'll talk about what all this stuff is down here and how it affects the overall gameplay. But for right now, let's dive on into the dungeon. So this game has endless dungeons, and it's up to you how you want to play them. This game has a completely customizable set of difficulty rules. You can actually change the difficulty around to get it right to the sweet spot where it's exactly the amount of challenge that you want to have. Right now, I haven't really modified anything because, like, my last boss dungeon was actually fairly stressful. I barely made it on through, so I'm thinking I might need some better gear, some more level ups. But for the moment, we've got two different dungeons we can dive on into. So one of them is Freezing Cold, which lowers our attack speed tremendously. That feels really tedious to me. It looks like it leads to a gemstone mine. Gems are important because you use gems just like in Diablo or in like World of Warcraft, a la Burning Crusade. You slot them into your gear. Technically, you merge your gear with the gems in order to make custom stuff. This looks like it leads to healing items, and then we've also got rare materials on that side. I like that a lot. There's also a village over on that side, so let's go ahead and dive on into this dungeon. Every single dungeon is going to have a limit on the amount of levels of heroes you're allowed to bring with you. You can have 5 guys in your party, but the number of levels they have to add up to this number or less, regardless of how many people you brought with you. I almost said irregardless right there, dude. Irregardless. It's the candy of words. I know it's a terrible word that means nothing, but I still feel drawn to saying it because I grew up in a household where people said it all the time. I caught myself right there. No edit required. All right, professional YouTuber. Let me stash up a bit more stuff. There is a survival direction to this game. That's why you're seeing so much food and drink inside of my inventory. You do have to feed and drink your guys while you're going through dungeons and stuff like that. You kind of have a time limit based on how much food you have, whether or not you'll make it through the dungeon. But for right now, here is our party inside of our first dungeon. And I'm glad we got an alternate tile set because that's one of the most important upgrades that they've added over the course of the game's development. The last patch that I think they released this morning added all these new biomes to the game. There's loads of them. The last time we covered the game, most of the dungeons had a very similar tile set. No longer. Now there's steampunk tile sets, there's places that look like dwarvish forges, there's like 4 or 5 different just stone dungeons, there's underground jungles. I've never seen this tile set, so it looks like we're in some kind of like sylvan woodland right now. I'm gonna see if I can have my rogue disarm this trap real quick. He did not disarm the trap, and in fact, we've got poison explosion all over us right now, which is not going to be the greatest. People are going to start losing HP pretty quickly. Our lower HP party members, like the rogue, unfortunately, he may actually expire from this. The good news is I have a cleric with me who has healing magic, so we can kind of mitigate some of this by using different abilities. Now, as you play through the game, your characters are going to accumulate different abilities based on their class. In something like Dungeons and Dragons, you get all of the spells when you get up to like a new level of proficiency or a new level. In this game, everybody's basically like a sorcerer in this game. You pick one ability when you level up that's from your next tier of abilities, and sometimes there's actually like cross-class things that you can get too. And then from there, you customize those abilities, and they have a certain number of usages per dungeon. And so that's why you see these little numbers down here. For right now, that trap, triggering that early is really, really unfortunate because it is going to wear on us. We've got our first fight right here. It looks like the enemy's got us surrounded on all directions. Play this game like you would play Baldur's Gate. Real time with pause is in full effect here. We are a little bit scuffed. I want to wait and see how these guys sort of converge on us. Yeah, cleric fight him, warrior fight him, rogue fight that one right there. Now, one important thing that's different about this game from Baldur's Gate is that all of your abilities go off instantly, even if you're inside of a push pause, which is actually kind of curious and interesting. It makes the combat feel very, very dynamic. And on top of that, it really allows you to plan out your strategy for what you want to do. I'm going to get those guys with a lightning bolt right there. That worked out great. And the next thing you're going to notice is this game has phenomenal pixel art. This is a really good-looking game as far as pixel art goes. It scales very well as you zoom in and you zoom out. My only complaint about the visuals thus far is that sometimes visibility, so if you get into a fight where you've got 10 or 15 enemies and only your 4 guys, it can get a little bit hectic trying to figure out what's going on because your guys just get blocked out by all the enemies that are around. Are those guys aware of me? They are very much aware of me. Okay, throw ninja stars at that guy. We did not land hardly any of our ninja stars, which kind of sucks. You walk up on him, and then I want you to life drain the spider. Life drain the spider for 6 worked out okay. You walk up on there. I would like to see you throw a flame bolt maybe at the spider, but he dodged it. The game does give you very clear hit chances for everything that you try to do inside of this game so that you don't have to worry about your D20 dice rolls or anything else. I think he's stunned. Let's stay on that skeleton right there. And I think the spider is probably the bigger threat between these two. So if we can take down the spider sooner rather than later, that would be phenomenal. Unfortunately, the spider just split into like 100 other spiders, so I'm gonna rain ice on all of them, hopefully killing a few. Yeah, we killed about half of them right there, so that's good. The downshot is we don't want to stand on that ice, just like if you were playing something like Divinity Original Sin, the ground actually matters in this game. If it's on fire, you catch on fire. If it's oily, you move slow and you attack slower. If it's ice, you have a chance of being frozen over, and then other spell effects can also interact with the stuff on the ground, but we don't have any of that ready to go at the moment, and so let's just queue everybody else up for fighting. And then there's other mechanics you need to be aware of. So you may have noticed that our characters were taking hits there, like they had little damage numbers above their heads, but they weren't losing any HP. That's because this game has a system where you get armor and you get magic shield from the equipment that you have on, so when an enemy lands a hit of either physical or magical type, they've got to get through your armor and your shield first before they get to your HP. This makes your characters considerably more resilient, especially when they're under fire by like a lot of AoEs, a lot of fireballs and stuff like that. Allows you to think a little bit more. What is that right there? It's humid. Oh, our thirst is going down slower. Okay, I can live with that. It looks like all we got right there is a skills recharge potion. That'll recharge 2 skills on drink, which actually isn't that bad. I don't particularly want the arrows. It combines the corpse piles. One thing that I think this game does exceptionally well is that quality of life is very much and very carefully seen to inside of this title. So little things like I don't need to click on the pots to break them. They automatically break when I mouse over them. On top of that, gold, you automatically loot it when you mouse over it. You can go on out to the world map once you get to the exit, and you can just mouse over all the stuff that you want to interact with, and it'll just take care of it for you so that you don't have to backtrack. A lot of really good, thoughtful stuff inside this game. I need you to use second wind to get your HP back. I need you to throw a heal on the rogue because he's beat to hell right now. I don't want to use any of my skill charges at the moment. I suppose I could because I have the skill recharge potion. Normally, you can only get your charges back by short and long rests, which are provided by very specific facilities inside of the dungeon that may or may not be there on any particular run. We want the mage to go down first. This guy's really, really dangerous right here. Unfortunately, I don't have anything that I can chuck at him right now. I can try to freeze him. There we go. We froze him and CC'd him. So warrior, break off and hold down the zombie right there, and then you come over here and beat up that guy until he dies. There are no attacks of opportunity in this game from what I've seen so far, but they've programmed, it's kind of one of those weird ironic things about video game design where players always say that they want sophisticated AI, but on a certain level, the AI has to be dumb enough to allow the player opportunities in order to make tactical decisions in a lot of games. This is a healing pool. Yeah, we got the actual dice roll right there, so that's good. That actually saves me a cooldown. The enemies are smart enough that they will target people that are weak and don't have good armor and are easy to hit based on their hit chance, but if there's someone in their way on the way over there, they won't step around them and just ignore them. Instead, they'll engage the person that's actively hitting them up close, which means that even without attacks of opportunity, you actually have a chance to form up lines and protect your squishies that are in the back. What do we have going on over here? I want to cast a lightning bolt on them. We disintegrated just outright the bat that they had coming towards us. I'm going to throw shurikens at this guy. There we go. Get my shinobi on. These guys over here, do I have any AoEs ready to pop? I don't think that I do, but I would like to have AoEs ready to pop. Let's get them with that right there. That did a good job as well, and then there's also a chance some of these guys will freeze and get peeled before the enemy gets here. That spider just soaked a hit, so keep on hitting him. We don't want to walk into the ice until it despawns. So yeah, that one got frozen right there on his way over. That's good. I don't know why he gave up his position in the line. I think they got pushed or something. You do have push and pull abilities in this game. You can knock, see this pit right here? Your characters can get like one-shotted if the enemy shield bashes them off a cliff or something else like that. They don't die, but they'll be out of the map for 20 seconds or so, and then they'll respawn in here with much, much, much less health. And so it's kind of a headache when your guys get bashed off of a cliff, so try to avoid it. We've got 0 seconds left on that heal, so we'll put that on the mage real fast. We'll throw a firebolt at that dude just to... You see how it melted the ice right there and turned it into water? Cool stuff. I like the environmental interactions, even if I don't pay attention to them very well a lot of the time. Let's keep on cruising and see it. This is actually a combat-heavy dungeon, man. There's a lot of bad guys inside all of these rooms. This right here is a lectern. Every single dungeon's going to have a lectern that allows you to get like 400 free XP for doing nothing. It's a catch-up mechanic because frequently you're going to be replacing heroes and adding them on into the party, and they're going to be much lower level than everybody else. For right now, I'd like my warrior to give it a crack. It's based on intelligence, so he only has a 75% chance, but he succeeded, which allows him to get a level up and a new ability. He can get a motivation glyph. So it's a AoE that gives everybody 50% attack speed for 3 seconds. That's not incredible. Oh, it's 12 seconds. Never mind. Over here, we've got Finishing Blow, which is an attack that has a much higher chance to hit due to the +4 offensive score. You can think of that as just being a +4 to hit when you go to hit the enemy, and it always crits. That's kind of nice. We've also got Crowd Taunt, which forces everybody to attack him. I will take... Glyph helps the party more, but Finishing Blow hits really, really hard and is kind of scary. And we do have a lot of melees, so I guess I'll go with Motivation Glyph, even though I don't want to take it. My pragmatic side is like, yeah, that's the right... Oh my god. Okay. I got you idiots lined up. No, I have no AoEs, dude. I got no AoEs right now. They were all lined up and everything. All right, we'll just freeze him at the outset. Warrior, you're going to close over to there. Cleric, you're going to close over to there. Rogue, you're going to close over to there. And then you're going to stay in the back line. Or the enemy is going to advance really, really hard right there, and there's not going to be much I can do about it. Okay, that's fine. I think my opening salvo here, I need you to be right there, and you just help out with the bug on this side. These are mostly archers. I'm a little bit worried they're all going to focus fire my wizard right there. Left, that's exactly what they did. Have I played this game or have I played this game? I knew that was what these guys were going to do. So give me a heal on the wizard. We're going to have to do something about the archers, though. The archers are going to have to get got. So I'm going to have my rogue drop a fake character around the back that generates aggro. Hopefully they'll... Oh, no. The ground got frozen. That's super bad. Go step over to there. Damn it. He didn't make it in time. He got CC'd. That's super terrible. Let's move up to here and see what we can kill. There goes one right there. He doesn't have much to play around with, but we did thin out the field a little bit on that side. He's going to be more or less defenseless while he's frozen. I don't love that. He just went into a blood rage, which means I have no control over him. He's got a weapon right now that gives him a chance to go into a holy rage like a righteous crusader's retribution, and he's much, much stronger while he's in that form. Unfortunately, I can't tell him what to do while he's in that form, though, so we're going to have to wait another 4 seconds for that to fall off. Nobody else is really wounded or hurt right now. We did get some loot, though, right here. What is it, a torch? I don't want that. We can leave that laying on the ground. That's garbage loot. Where's the good stuff at? I want them hot, spicy perps, bro. That's what I'm trying to... Is that guy just, like, stuck back there? Sometimes this happens where enemies spawn inside of nooks that they can't get out of. Okay, we did damage with that. Maybe I'll try... I don't really have any ranged attacks right now that I can sling his way. I guess just throw whatever you have at him. We're going to have to soak the hits here. There we go. We killed him. Unfortunately, the warrior is on fire. And not in, like, the fun NBA Jam kind of way. Like, he's on fire in the much more screaming, crackling skin, third-degree burns, gotta spend 6 months in the hospital kind of way. A bummer, but these things happen when you dedicate to life as an adventurer. We've got another trap in here and a whole bunch more enemies to be dealt with. You block off their advance from that side. You get down here and just auto-slash him, create a wall on that side, give him a free hit on that side, you give him a free hit as well, and it looks like we are Gucci, I think. Oh, no. There's a wizard hiding in a trap over here. Huh. I guess throw a firebolt at him. Can I get you to disarm the trap? He did disarm the trap, which means we can engage, and he did that in combat, under the line of fire, in a high-stress environment. This guy right here, steely-eyed, I would say, steely-eyed. Treasure chest, it's got a bunch of mundane items in it. I like that gem of health, though. That gem of health is good. 50 bucks, that right there is a crafting resource that we use for building base parts. And then, I don't really want the heavy gloves. They aren't worth anything, and they're useless to me because they're gray quality. So we'll just leave them right where they lay at. Is there anywhere I have not been? Let's go ahead and cruise over to this side. Well, we'll get this corridor first and see if it connects. Alas, no connection. Looks like we've got another chest inside of this room, which I think is great for us because I need loot. An arcane helmet. Never seen that one before. We got keys. Keys are used for opening chests and escaping the level once you actually find your way out. You can tell what key goes to what by the color of the lock on a chest. I am going to take this rather than saving the silver key. You can try to pick these. Just be forewarned, if you fail to pick it, it does bad things, so you don't want that to happen. We got some more crafting resources. We've got a sleep potion. Don't hate that. We can throw that mid-combat. You are limited on the amount of consumables you can use inside of a given window of time by this energy bar that's at the top of your character portraits. That's to stop you because there's so many consumables and grenades and things of that nature in this game that can prolong fights forever, that they've actually got an energy meter. You can only use so many consumables before your character is considered tired or like zugged out, and at that point you've got to wait for this to regenerate, and I think it regenerates like a tiny amount every 5 seconds or so. We've got an amulet and an epic helmet. Okay, I like the epic helmet. Can I do anything with it? So he's got himself a medium helmet of the Undead Slayer. In this game, there's no limit on who can equip what when it comes to armor. There's not really any armor proficiencies or anything else like that. If you want to make a mage that is entirely clacked out in plate mail, go ahead and do it. This game doesn't care at all. However, there will be downsides to that. Like, mages tend to have the strongest auto attack in the game, and every heavy piece of armor that you put on lowers your attack speed, and it can get pretty considerable, like minus 40%. And so in general, I kind of like keeping everybody to medium armor if I can help it, with the occasional heavy piece here or there. Comparing his two helmets, the helmet he currently have gives him 1 defense, a detonate charge, and it looks like it has a chance when he gets hit, or no, a chance when he casts an Undead Slayer skill to get invigorating defense, which makes, I think, your armor regenerate faster over a given amount of time. This right here gives him a charge of paralysis and raises his attack speed by 20%, but he is going to lose some defense right there, further making him easier to hit by archers. I'll give it a try. When your characters wear gear for a while, they will eventually attune to it. That means that nobody else can equip that gear. There are certain potions and scrolls you can find that will remove that attunement, though, and so it's not like a permanent thing. Think of it like soul binding from World of Warcraft, except that there are very specific situations in which you can get around it. I think all we have left now is the boss door, so let's go ahead and take care of that real quick, because defeating the boss will give us access to a blue key chest, which tends to have the really, really good goodies in it. Now, we want to set up before the fight in kind of like, I call this caging because I played a lot of Blood Bowl, but basically I like to surround my caster with guys to stop people from getting to him before I push the button. Let's activate the fight and we'll see how bad this is. Boss fights in this game can kind of swing in either direction. Sometimes they're really, really hard, and sometimes it's just a normal fight with a bunch of mobs. It kind of depends. Yeah, you can throw some shurikens at him. And then over on this side, block them off maybe. Do I have anything that's going to help me out here? I do have stop, but I'm not going to cast it just yet. Get him with a fireball, have the rogue move forward, do an instant attack right there, instant attack right there, instant attack right there. He's going to reinforce from... Oh, there's a ghost spawning. Okay, well, let's finish this guy off first real quick before the ghost gets here. He's blood raged out, so I no longer have control over him. That guy's now down, and we just gotta fight the ghost as soon as he decides to materialize. But I think the ghost does something. Yeah, he has like a periodic AoE that's unblockable for 2 or 3 damage. Like, it's just a dot that goes off every now and again in an AoE radius. 2 more potions. We got a shield potion. That's really, really nice. And then we've also got a minor healing potion, which once again is a nice thing to have. These little meters on the right-hand side of your portrait, that's gonna be your thirst and your hunger. Your thirst and your hunger do need to be seen to. You may have noticed that your hunger never goes down. That's because your hunger is a currency that you use in order to trade in for camping, to get charges back on your abilities and heal everybody. So, in general, you're going to have a lot more food than you have drinks. For right now, though, let's get everybody nice and sated as far as their thirst goes, because we do have a lot of people that are pretty thirsty right now. I have been running out of drinks for the last couple runs, which makes me feel nervous, but let's go get our super awesome loot chest and see how this goes. Brother, are you done blood raging yet? I need you to be done blood raging. The enemy has been vanquished. There is no need to be enraged any longer. Frankly, the rest of us have been talking. We think you probably should go to some kind of therapy or counseling for this. But inside of the chest, we've got a light helmet of wondrous Constitution. That's pretty good. 4 Constitution and 2 defense. Let me see what everybody else has. Well, the downside here is I don't really have anybody to place that item on for right now, but I still want it, so I'm going to bring it with me. We've also got a pretty rad battle axe over here that scales with strength, does 1d12. It's got a slower attack speed, but it also has a chance to do chaotic strike, which is 24 damage psychic, and also applies confusion to the target. That's gonna be one of those things that I think is worth maybe giving up some of his defensive bonuses for, because that is a wildly effective weapon. The good news is you get 2 weapon sets that you can freely swap between in combat. So if he gets swamped with enemies, I can swap him over to his shield build real fast. And if he's just 1v1ing, this is by far the superior weapon, because the sheer shocking amount of damage that he's going to be able to do with this thing, he's got 3 to 14 damage straight off the rip, and then a chance for another 2 to 24 damage plus a confuse on every single hit. That's wild. That's a really good weapon. Let's take the dungeon portal and get on out of here. And that was your first dungeon inside Escape the Mad Empire. All of the stuff that we evac'd out of the dungeon is going to be added on into our stash. It wasn't a particularly fortuitous dungeon, but it did give us enough stuff to get some things done. So let's talk about our facilities inside of here. As you play through the game, you're going to get crafting materials. These crafting materials are going to allow you to get multi-class heroes. They're going to allow you to build new buildings that supplement your ability to go through dungeons and get things done. As of right now, I've got a forge. This allows me to destroy gear, so if I wanted to take that right there, and I wanted to take, let's say, that right there, and I wanted to take the bow, and then I wanted to throw, I don't know if you can actually do potions. You can, but they don't really break down into anything that useful. But you can get crafting materials for those. So you can like, bam, melt it, and it just gets added straight on in, which means that the game has this nice circular logic to it where even if you don't get stuff that you need to make your character stronger, you do get stuff that you need to make your base stronger and make it more effective. We can also craft. Crafting in this game is just combining your gear with gems. It will add whatever the bonus is on this gem to the piece of equipment. However, you are limited on how much you can add to a particular piece of equipment. So keep that in mind. Every gem has a certain amount of like power that it uses up on an item, and so there are limited numbers of gems that you can put onto things. Every now and again though, you might get lucky and find something that will allow you to put like a whole bunch of mods on there, like that right there. And that's one of the ways that gray gear is actually kind of useful in its own way in this game, is that gray gear is far more customizable than gear that already has mods and implicits on it. And so sometimes it can be a good idea to hold on to gray gear of specific types if you've got a combination of gems that will allow you to turn that into just a monstrous item that really benefits somebody's build and what they've got going on. This right here is the replicator. It allows me to conjure items from the timeline and also sell off items that I have inside my inventory. As of right now, I actually think buying this ale jar right here is a really good idea because everybody's thirsty, and that's plus 50 thirst to everybody in the group. We've got a ring over on this side. It gives another charge of paralysis. Could be useful. I mean, paralysis, hands down, one of the strong, like, hold person, dude. One of the strongest early game spells in D&D. Like, an absolutely ugly spell. Sleep is also kind of underrated, I find. Like, people underappreciate the sleep spell. But I don't know if I want any of that. We can also re-roll if we wanted to using some of our crafting resources, but until I've got everything lined up, I'm not going to do that. This right here is the identifier. From time to time, you're going to find unidentified gear. You will not be able to use that gear without knowing if it's cursed until you identify it. You can just slap an unidentified item onto a character and it will become identified after they play around with it, but curses in this game kind of a pain in the ass to get rid of, and I don't have the machine right now that removes curses in exchange for crafting materials, so I'm slow playing it. It'll take this many dungeon levels before this gets identified, and I've got like a little queue down here of stuff that I'm trying to identify. Above legendary, there's also special items in this game, like there's imperial items. Imperial items are incredibly powerful, but once you equip them, they can never be unequipped, thus bricking that slot on the character. So you want to be really, really sure that this is an end-all, be-all, best-in-slot item for a character before you slot it in. You want to be very, very careful about that because ways of getting rid of Empire items are extremely limited. Over on this side, I've got my hero summoner. As of right now, these are the classes that are inside the game. You've got basic classes. These are your pures. Your basic classes, they do the exact same thing that you expect them to do from something like Dungeons and Dragons with minor dots and tittles and modifications in there. These guys at the bottom, these are Soul Explorer classes, which are specialized classes. It takes trade skill materials in order to get these guys, but they tend to be much stronger versions or hybrids of the classes up here. So like in the case of the Blackguard, he is a melee DPS. We also have a Centurion. The Centurion exists somewhere in between the Ravager and the Guardian. He's part tank, part DPS, instead of being pure tank or pure DPS. The Blood Priest over here can drink blood off the ground in order to cast spells. All kinds of little things like that. The one that I'm interested in that I really want to unlock is the Puppet Master, because I've always liked summoner classes, and so I kind of want to check that character out. I also like the Imperial Guard, who's kind of like a Spellblade, and so I'll get there at some point. This right here is where you customize your characters. Not only do you level up and get random abilities from each tier of your class, you also get stars every time you level up, and those stars can be used on every single ability that you've unlocked in order to make them more effective. The track right now is very, very simple. I do hope that they expand on this at some point and make it have branching paths that can either evolve the ability or take it in different directions. But for right now, most of these things are just going to increase their chance to hit, increase the amount of charges they have, decrease their cooldown, stuff like that. So with this guy, he's got 4 slots, or he's got 4 stars right now. I kind of want to get more charges of Double Strike, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. So we'll go up here and we'll get another charge of Double Strike on him real quick. Over here on Goob, we've got 6 of these right now. I would like to get another charge of Meteor, because Meteor hits for 6d6. It hits really, really hard. It hits for 6 to 36 damage when he drops it, and only having like 1 or 2 charges of that per dungeon, it's not working out for me. I'd like to have more. I can also increase the duration of his CC when he freezes an enemy by 5 seconds. That's a lot of breathing room, so I will take that. He's got an ability called Murder that I really like, where he attacks 5 times, or 3 times. He attacks 3 times in 1 turn. That's also incredibly powerful for pinning down the enemy and dealing a lot of damage that they can't deal with in just 1 fell swoop, and then I'll also increase the damage of the ability by 20%. This right here is where you can customize the difficulty of your runs. As you customize the difficulty, you will get lots and lots and lots of rewards. So like, let's say for every one of these that you mess with, you get to pick a reward. So I could be like, let's make the monster groups that much more difficult. Then I would have 2 points that I could play around with to make it so that all Empire chests are unlocked if I wanted to. Or I could make it so that the chests that I get on my next run are far more rare than they previously were and have better stuff inside of them. It's up to you what you want to do, but I do appreciate this level of control they give you over your campaign. This right here is the Regenerator. It allows me to, at the cost of instability, it allows me to heal my characters of their wounds. You may have noticed these guys have little broken bones on them. Your characters do get wounds every time they get knocked down and get to 0 HP, and so you're going to have to heal those off one way or another via either resting or by paying with instability inside of here. I've got enough of these crystal shards right now to get a new facility. The facility that I wanted, I think the Soul Explorer is a good idea. That way I can unlock new classes. So we'll build that guy over on this side. And let's investigate. So I'm going to need a lot more. Oh, I automatically get the Centurion and the General. Nice. Well, that's good. I like that. I will take the Centurion, actually, I think. Oh, I don't have enough of the crystal fragments to get him. I would have to break down inside the forge some more legendary gear. And I don't really have any legendary gear that I'm willing to part with for right now. So I think I'll probably just leave it alone. What was that necklace right there? More healing received? I don't care about that. That's irrelevant. That's not going to be that helpful. It's worth a lot of money, though. Let's go ahead and melt that real quick just to get another ingot. And then these buildings are also upgradable. So this is where the other crafting materials come on in. So I can increase the amount of items that are offered in the store just like that. And now when we go back to the shop, you can see that their selection is much expanded, which is important because I've been running low on drinky drink for a while. And so I'd like to buy more drink. I'll probably buy those boots and put them on the Rogue because he's still got like missing inventory slots and whatnot. He's still using common short swords too, so I should probably meld off a couple of things to make him stronger. If you look at these little trophies next to the characters, these trophies are how strong their equipment is. like a conceptualization of how effective they are as a hero, you'll notice he has a lot less trophy cups than everybody else. And so we'll go into the forge. Let's pop one of these swords in here, and let's see what we can add to it. So we can get +2 damage on main hand hits right there. We can give him 10% HP. We can give him a 10% chance to cast a psychic wave every single time. I'm cool with that. Yeah, combine that thing. What did I get out? I got an epic sword. Nice. And it should have all those affixes on it now that I added to it. And so that should be a much better item for him. Unfortunately, I don't have that many gems down in here that increase his attack rate, attack speed, attack effectiveness, or extra damage. So there are some gems that will add like 1d4 fire damage to every swing. That's what I was hoping we would have down in there, but we don't really have that at the moment. But hopefully that right there should be enough to bring him at least up to parity with the rest of the party. I could spend some resources to try to get a different shop layout to kind of like clack him out a little bit harder, but I don't really see the point right now. These gloves do add 15% to his crowd control, and he's already at 10 seconds, so that would bring him up to 11 or 12 seconds, depending on how the game handles rounding. And that's where this game gets very, very customizable, is that in between each dungeon run, you are curating your character's gear, their builds, the thing that they can do. You might be thinking about bringing in like secondary party members. How am I going to level them on up? Frankly, I think that this is like one of the more promising RPGs that's out there, and it comes wrapped up in just candy-coated pixel graphics. Like, I think it's a great looking game. It's got lots of little details. I think it's incredibly customizable. I'm actually quite in love with this game. And so my name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, it was Escape the Mad Empire. Tomorrow to be something else. Thanks for hanging out with me, and that's all I got for you, folks. See you next time.